Part 1. Why intelligent people are doomed to suffer. What if I told you that the more intelligent you are, the more you will suffer? Not because intelligence is a curse in itself, not because the world punishes smart people out of jealousy, but because true intelligence is an awareness of suffering, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. This is not optimism. This is not the comforting lie that tells you, you're smart, so you'll be successful and admired. This is the truth that only the most intelligent men ever realize. And once they do, they either learn to endure it, or they break. No one understood this better than Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher who saw life for what it truly is, a constant struggle against the misery of existence. And in his darkest yet most profound teachings, he revealed why intelligent people are destined to suffer more than the rest of the world. Because intelligence is not a gift, it is a burden. And if you don't understand how to carry it, it will destroy you. Are you ready for the truth? In Part 2, I will show you exactly why the world rejects, fears, and isolates intelligent people, and why most never make it out alive. Part 2. Why intelligence is a curse, not a gift. Most people believe intelligence is a blessing. They think if you're smart, life is easier. You make better decisions. You succeed faster. You avoid mistakes. But Schopenhauer saw the ugly truth, the one no one wants to admit. The more intelligent you are, the more you suffer. Not because intelligence itself is painful, but because intelligence makes you aware of things others never notice. You see the lies that others believe. You see the emptiness behind success. You see the fakeness in relationships, in society, in human behavior. And worst of all, you see the suffering that no one else seems to notice. The world is filled with happy fools, people who live in ignorance, who accept reality without question, who blindly follow the illusions of wealth, fame, and happiness. But an intelligent man, he sees through it all. And once you see, you can never go back. That's why intelligence is a prison. The more you understand, the more you realize how little control you truly have. The more you analyze life, the more meaningless it becomes. The more knowledge you gain, the more isolated you feel. This is why intelligent people feel alone, even in a crowded room, why they struggle to connect, why they often spiral into depression, nihilism, and despair. Because the world they live in is not designed for them. It is designed for those who don't question, for those who obey, for those who are blind to the absurdity of existence. And this is why the world hates intelligent people. Not because they are a threat, not because they are better, but because they remind others of truths they would rather not see. But now the real question: what happens when an intelligent man refuses to play along? In Part 3, I will show you how the world breaks those who see too much, and what happens to those who try to resist. Are you ready for the next step? Part 3. The world doesn't want you to think. It wants you to obey. By now, you understand the truth. Intelligence isolates you. The more you see, the more you suffer. The world is designed for those who don't ask questions. But what happens when an intelligent man refuses to stay silent? What happens when he challenges the illusions, speaks against the crowd, and refuses to follow the script? The world destroys him. Schopenhauer saw this clearly. He knew that society has no place for those who think too deeply. That's why the greatest philosophers were exiled. The greatest thinkers were ridiculed. The greatest revolutionaries were erased. Because intelligence is only valued when it serves the system. The moment an intelligent man stops playing along, he becomes a threat. Look around. People would rather believe comforting lies than face uncomfortable truths. Society rewards obedience, not wisdom. The world wants workers, consumers, and followers, not thinkers. And if you refuse to comply, if you refuse to lower your mind to their level, you will be pushed to the edges of society. They will call you arrogant. They will say you're too difficult. They will label you an outsider, because nothing is more threatening to the system than a man who cannot be controlled. The two fates of an intelligent man. This is why most intelligent people end up broken. They are given two choices. 1. Hide their intelligence and fit in. This is what most do. They dumb themselves down, pretend to agree, and avoid deep conversations. They become quiet observers, watching, analyzing, but never fully engaging. They know the truth, but they never say it out loud. Why? Because it's easier. Because blending in is less painful than isolation. Because they have learned that intelligence is a burden best kept hidden. But the cost: they never truly express themselves. They never live as they really are. They spend their lives playing small to make others comfortable. And that, Schopenhauer would say, is the slowest form of death. But then there is the second path, point 2. Reject the system and face the consequences. Some intelligent men refuse to play along. They see the world for what it is and refuse to pretend otherwise. They speak the truth, even when it makes people uncomfortable. They refuse to obey, even when society punishes them. They choose authenticity over acceptance. And what happens to these men? They are feared, rejected, isolated. They become outcasts, rebels, and ghosts in their own time. But here's the irony. These are the men who shape history. Because while society punishes intelligence, it also depends on it. The world is built by those who see what others don't. The future is shaped by those who question what others accept. And in the end, those who refuse to obey become the ones the world cannot ignore. But now comes the final question. If intelligence leads to suffering, and if the world fights against those who think, how do you survive it? How do you stay true to your mind without being broken by the weight of it? In part 4, I will show you Schopenhauer's strategy for surviving as an intelligent man in a world that fears intelligence. Most men will never figure this out. But if you do, you will have a power that few will ever understand. Are you ready? Part 4. How to survive as an intelligent man in a world that fears intelligence. By now, you understand the truth that most will never accept. The world does not reward intelligence, it resents it. You will either hide your mind or be punished for it. The system is designed for obedience, not deep thought. And yet, intelligent men still exist. Some go mad. Some break under the weight of their awareness, but a few, a rare few, find a way to survive without betraying themselves. Schopenhauer understood. He knew that an intelligent man must live differently than the rest of the world, that he knew that if you do not learn how to protect your mind, it will be used against you. So what is the answer? How do you exist in a world that does not want you to think? How do you keep your intelligence without letting it destroy you? Here are Schopenhauer's 3 laws of survival for intelligent men. Point 1. Never expect the world to understand you. The biggest mistake intelligent men make. They assume that others see what they see. They assume that if they explain the truth, others will understand. They assume that logic, facts, and reason will change minds. They assume that people actually want to wake up. But they don't. Most people do not want deep truths. They want comforting illusions. Most people do not want to question reality. They want to be reassured that their reality is correct. This is why arguing with fools is useless. Because the fool is not looking for truth. He is looking to defend his illusions. So the first rule of survival. Stop expecting the world to understand you. Once you accept that most people will never see what you see, you stop wasting your energy trying to be understood, and that will set you free. Point 2. Play the game without becoming a slave to it. Schopenhauer believed that intelligent men must learn how to navigate society without being consumed by it. You must know how to blend in, but never lose your ability to see the truth. You must understand the rules of the system, but never become its prisoner. You must use the world's illusions, but never let them define you. Because here's the harsh reality. If you reject society completely, you will become an outcast. If you follow it blindly, you will become a fool. The key. Master the balance. Be in the world, but not of the world. Understand society's games, but never believe in them. Use what benefits you, but detach from what is meaningless. And above all, never let the system own your mind. Point 3. Build a fortress of the mind. This is Schopenhauer's most important rule, that if you do not control your mind, the world will control it for you. The media will tell you what to believe. Society will tell you what to value. The system will keep you distracted, entertained, and too weak to think for yourself. And this is why most intelligent men fall. They become bitter. They become trapped in endless debates. They drown in frustration because they cannot change the world around them. But Schopenhauer's greatest wisdom is this. The intelligent man must build an inner world that no one can touch. Live inside your own mind. Read, think, reflect. Create your own reality instead of consuming what others give you. Detach from the noise. Society will always be foolish. Accept it and stop letting it disturb your peace. Master solitude. The ability to be alone with your own thoughts is the ultimate power. Because once you build a fortress of the mind, nothing can break you. Not the opinions of others. Not the illusions of society. Not the suffering of existence itself. And in that moment, you are free. The final step, will you break or will you rise? Now you know the truth. The world fears intelligence. You will always be an outsider. You must learn to exist in a system that was never made for you. Most men cannot handle this. Knowledge. They either hide their mind to fit in, or they fight against the world until it destroys them. But a rare few, they rise above it. They stop expecting the world to change. They stop looking for approval. They stop being controlled by frustration, anger, or despair. And instead, they master the art of existence. I end part 5. I will reveal the final secret, the last, most powerful lesson from Schopenhauer that will give you an edge over everyone else. Most people will never reach this level of understanding. But if you do, you will never see life the same way again. Are you ready for the final truth? Part 5. The final truth. The secret that separates the few from the many. You've come this far. You now understand the truth that most will never dare to face. The world is not made for intelligent men. You will always be an outsider. The masses will never understand you, and they never will. At this point, most men break. They drown in frustration. They become bitter. They spend their lives in endless battles, trying to change a world that will never change. But Schopenhauer saw something beyond the suffering, a final realization that separates the rare few who rise from the many who fall. The secret: you do not need the world, not its validation, not its approval, not its rewards. Once you see this, truly see it, you become untouchable. Let me explain point 1. Stop fighting the unchangeable and free yourself. Most intelligent men make one fatal mistake. They waste their energy trying to fix the world. They argue with fools. They try to wake people up. They rage against the system, thinking they can change it. But Schopenhauer teaches the harshest truth of all. The world is what it is, and it will never be what you want it to be. The masses will always chase illusions. The system will always favor obedience. Most people will never think for themselves, and that's okay, because the moment you stop trying to fix the world, something incredible happens. You take your power back. You stop wasting energy on the unchangeable. You stop letting the foolishness of others disturb your peace. You stop fighting against reality and start using it for your advantage. Point 2. Build your own reality and let the world chase you. Here is the final paradox. The world rejects those who try to change it, but it follows those who rise above it. Most intelligent men spend their lives fighting the system, but the smartest ones, they step back. They detach. They stop fighting and start building. They create their own world, their own philosophy, their own space, their own game. They live for their own understanding, not for validation. They pursue knowledge, not applause. They focus on mastery, not recognition. And what happens? While others are trapped in the noise of society, these men rise above it. And ironically, it is these men who end up being followed. Because while society rejects intelligence, it secretly craves those who are strong enough to stand alone. Point 3. The final move. How to win without playing. Schopenhauer's last lesson is this. You do not win by fighting the game. You win by not needing the game at all. While others chase status, you remain centered. While others seek approval, you move in silence. While others waste their energy on distractions, you build something real. And when you no longer need the world's validation, it can no longer control you. That is the highest power. That is the highest intelligence. That is freedom. And the best part. Once you stop chasing, once you stop needing, once you stop caring about the illusions that control everyone else, the world will chase you instead. The final thought. Are you ready to walk this path? Now you know why intelligent men suffer. Now you know why society fears them. Now you know why most of them never escape. But the rare ones who do, they are the only truly free men on earth. And now, you face the final choice. Will you waste your intelligence fighting battles that can never be won? Or will you rise above the noise, detach from the illusions, and build a life no one can touch? The path is lonely. The path is hard. The path is not for most men. But if you are one of the few who understands, you will never be the same again. This is Schopenhauer's final wisdom, and now it is yours.